to you.
It's good to see you too, sis.
The first time I saw Van Jones, I have to tell you, was back in 2003. And this is one of the things I have so much respect for, not only in Van's work, but in Majora's work, that they understand people's pain. And I saw Van speaking about social justice actually at a public interest law graduation that my sister was participating in. And I thought, I don't know who that man is, but he's going to change my life. And he most certainly has. And I want to know, Van, for starters, people are in a tremendous amount of pain right now, a lot of pain around financial issues and dealing with this economic recession. And what we see is that they're creating this false opposition of the environment and the economy.
Right.
And a recent Pew Research poll actually said that people are ready to drill, baby, drill. They're ready to pick the easing of economic pain over environmental considerations, or they want to find solutions that do both. Mm-hmm. What does both?
Well, first of all, it's just an honor to be here. It's an honor to be back. This is my third time with the Bioneers by the Bay, so give it up.
Nice.
I told Callum, I said, I'll come back next year with y'all. Y'all need somebody to shine shoes, put up the streamers, put up the tables. Let me come back. I love being a part of this community, and also to see it not only start off so beautiful, so powerful, with so much hope, but then to actually finally come to New Bedford. Now, this is history. It's history. I believe that New Bedford is on the way to becoming the green-collar mecca of the East Coast. And this is going to be a step in that direction. So just wanted to say that. I also I can't not acknowledge that we just had three of the most powerful sisters on the planet on this stage. Raw Goddess, Majora Carter, Rachel Bagby. If you guys don't know, those are the three horsewomen of the eco-renaissance at a soul level, at ecological level, at an economic level. So give a round of applause to the sisters. They just did it. They just did it. So, and they did it so well that I can actually just try to drill down on some of their points, some of their genius, some of the things that they already pointed out. Number one, you mentioned the pain, the financial crisis that we're in. This breakdown is horrible, awful, frightening, and inevitable. And inevitable. Because we got sold a bill of goods in this country. For the past 30 years, we tried to run our economy based on consumption, not production, based on debt, not smart savings and thrift like our grandparents, and based on environmental and ecological destruction, not ecological restoration. Well, that is by definition not sustainable. You cannot build an economy up on credit cards. That's what we have been trying to do. So U.S. consumption became the center of the world economy, not U.S. production. Now we have this horrible breakdown. But it represents a possibility of a breakthrough. Back to an economy that makes sense. We've got to stop borrowing from overseas and start building again here at home. We've got to stop relying on credit from overseas and start relying on our creativity here at home. That is the pathway to a sustainable future. We were not on a pathway toward a sustainable future. We were on a pathway toward a disaster. And we got one. When we talk about a green-collar economy, when you deal with this conference and you see all of these beautiful, hopeful solutions that you're going to be discussing over the next several days, in their entirety, this is not just some eco-niche, cute,
It's cute.
It's cute. It is cute. It's very cute. But it also has the potential to rescue the U.S. economy. It has the potential to create a movement in this country to reboot, repower, and retrofit a nation. That's what we're called to do. We are called to retrofit a nation. What does that mean? The sister just laid it out. She talked about the clean energy power grid, the so-called smart grid. That, everybody, this is so complicated, Van. How, my God, global warming, so hard. Figure out what to do. Let's just drive around in our car and think about it some more. I just don't know what we're going to do about the global warming. And jobs. How can we get people jobs? Waiter, bring me something. How can we get people jobs? Listen, I'm in these conversations. And what I want to be very clear about is simple. The way that we beat global warming, the way we power our way through this recession, the way we put millions of people to work, the way that we back ourselves out of this horrible addiction to oil, where we have to spend all this money policing the world's oil supply so that we can keep spending more money on the oil. The way we beat the whole thing, the sister already said, clean energy power grid. We've done this before. Think about it. We used to have, allegedly, a country. Go back to the 1930s, 1940s. We allegedly had a country, but all we had were little old dirt rural roads. So you're in the country, you couldn't get anywhere. So they decided they were going to build what? An interstate highway system. Why? So you could move bodies and vehicles all over the country. People say, oh, that's too much money. That's too expensive. We can't afford to do that. No, you couldn't afford not to do it. Because the minute you connected the country to itself, the economy took off. Worked so well that then in the 80s, in the 90s, we created something called, what? The information superhighway. What's that? Now we call it the internet. That connected the country to itself so we could move data and information around. Right? Huge expense. We can't afford this. Couldn't afford not to do it. Why? As soon as you did it, the economy took off. Now what we have to do is to create a clean energy power grid to move clean energy electrons around. Okay? You have in this country a Saudi Arabia of wind in the middle of your country. Sister showed it to you. Right? The plain states. You have a Saudi Arabia of sun, solar power, the sun belt. Your problem is that your clean energy power centers are far away from most of your population centers. Your generation, you young people, your challenge, your calling is to make sure this country does one thing. Connect those clean energy power centers to the population centers with a clean energy smart grid. The minute you do that, look what you just did. First of all, you got to put your scientists to work. You got to have a breakthrough. You can't drill and burn your way out, but you can invent and invest your way out. You got to put your scientists to work to invent better transmission and better energy storage. You solved that. You just took the United States out of the oil game, out of the carbon game, out of oil wars, out of resource wars. You took us off of this endless escalator of price rise for oil, and you let us jump now onto a nice, flat, steady energy supply, homegrown and clean. What does that mean? That means we go from being the world leader in pollution to the world leader in solutions. You can do that in the 10 to 15 years that's going to take you to drill up our coastlines, give us slick and slimy beaches, which people are so excited about us having. Can't wait till we drill up our coastlines and have slick and slimy beaches and one drop more oil. You could create a clean energy power grid that lets us move clean energy electrons around this country. The economy will go up, jobs will go up, hope will go up, carbon will come down, and we can share that technology with people all around the world. That is not complicated. That is common sense. It is eminently doable, and we need to do it now.
I live in the middle. in the place that has the third largest wind capacity in the country. And in what you're talking about, what comes up for me is that we have two problems that we have to overcome. That of perception, that drilling will alleviate our pain at the pump. Well, we know that can't happen, that won't happen. Right. We don't have the infrastructure. It'll take 7 years to 12 years to even get a drop of that, et cetera. And political will. And what we see in the state of Kansas is people pushing for coal, talking about how we are also the Saudi Arabia of coal. And people are very confused because what they feel like is to go for the cheaper energy source now is what's going to help them in the short term, and the long term needs to take care of itself. We're not there yet. Can you tell us a little bit more about your perceptions of that, and also what you talk about in your new book, The Green Collar Economy? If you don't have it, get it. New York Times bestseller already. It's been out for what, 2 weeks?
Yep, 2 weeks.
All right then.
Yep.
So it's not just me endorsing it, it's a whole bunch of people. What you talk about is a Green New Deal. Like, what do we need to do to make sure that politicians, doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right, you are getting on board with these solutions?
Well, first of all, we need to deal with this whole question around coal. How many of you guys have seen the commercials for clean coal? You guys seen that stuff, clean coal?
The oxymoron that is clean coal?
Yeah. How many of you guys have seen the commercials for the healthy cigarettes? You know, or, you know, same commercial, same. I was talking to some people who are running a particular campaign some people are excited about. And
we shall remain nameless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you guys keep talking about, I love you guys, you keep talking about this clean coal thing, though. It's kind of driving me crazy. So I said, I think that we should have three proposals for the energy future of the United States. Number one, clean coal. Number two, we could have unicorns pull our cars for us all over the country. And number three, we could have little fairies with wands to light our houses at night. Equally fictitious, right? Equally fictitious.
Yes.
Clean coal does not exist. There's no such thing as clean coal. Clean coal represents a dramatic breakthrough in the marketing of coal. It doesn't represent a breakthrough in the burning of coal. No such breakthrough has occurred. So we need to come back to reality. We will not be relying on clean coal, unicorns, or fairies for our energy future. But what we also need to do is to respect our coal miners. They are heroes. They have sacrificed their lungs to power this country to this point. They have sacrificed their health. Now they're being asked to blow up the mountains that make up their own communities so that big coal companies can just scrape the coal out to keep the lights on. They are heroes. And anything that we say that does not honor their sacrifice, it doesn't honor what they've done for us, we need to apologize for, we need to atone for, and we need to say, these are our heroes. There are 150,000 of them. We want them to be retired with dignity, with honor, with full pay, just as if they were heroes coming home from war. First of all, it would be cheaper than fighting them forever to keep the coal industry going. But it's also the right thing to do. We are going to make a dramatic transition, we have to a clean energy economy. We have to make sure that the people who were the workers in the old economy are taken care of. We're not going to leave anybody behind. This is a post-Katrina politics. We don't leave folks behind. We have people who are drowning on dry land right now, economically, all over this country. And we've got to stick together, and we've got to make sure that everybody can make this transition. But we have to be uncompromising on the point that we cannot bake this planet. We can't cook this planet just so that we can keep the lights on. Especially, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, enough sunlight falls on the Earth's surface in an hour to power the society, all of human civilization, for a whole year. There is no energy shortage. There's a lack of the technology to capture the clean energy and put it to use. What we're seeing now, this year, those of you who are young people, when you have grandchildren, they will come up to you and they will ask you about the year 2008. Just the way that we ask our parents about the year 1968. The year 2008 is that significant. Young people will ask their grandparents, what was it like when the carbon age was coming to an end? What was it like when the solar age was being born? What was it like when neoliberal economic policy crashed and neoconservative foreign policy crashed, when the age of Reagan ended and the age of began? And you'll have an answer. You'll have an answer.
Okay, I actually am pretty convinced that's exactly what's going to happen. If that did not happen, do you think the green economy would fare as well under a McCain administration? Is that something that we need to concern ourselves with?
You know, this is a 501c3 not-for-profit effort, so we can't pick sides in this thing, you know, even though I'm feeling myself personally filled with hope and a desire for change. But objectively, in a nonpartisan, non-profit, 501c3 safe way, McCain is full of it, and he represents a very dangerous development in U.S. politics. He represents the development of what I call the dirty greens. The dirty greens. See, it used to be that the greens were over here, the clean energy people were over here, and the pro-polluter, pro-status quo crowd was over there. And never the two shall meet. And the pro-polluters spent most of their time trying to confuse us about whether global warming was a problem, right? And they spent and they were pretty effective at it. And then we beat them on that. Al Gore helped us to beat them on that. So now, and that was a world historic victory. We should be proud of it, right? We beat them on that. But now what's happened is that same old crowd is no longer trying to confuse us about the problem. Instead, they try to confuse us about the solution. And so you have the rise now of these dirty greens. And they're green. They're green. They're green like the green sheen on an oil slick. Okay? Like the green sheen on an oil slick. Just a little green on top. Dirty and dangerous underneath. Okay? What am I talking about? I'm talking about the great, heroic, principled, courageous slogan to solve our energy problems. All of the above. Right? Have you heard this? How are we going to solve our energy problems? Well, all of the above. Well, what do you mean? Oh, well, we're for solar. We're for wind. We're for biodiesel. And we're also for oil shale and tar sands and drilling the coasts and liquefied coal and burning kittens and any dirty, carbon-based, immoral, all of the above. All of the above. And they say this with a straight face, as if this is leadership. Now, when did that become an admirable quality? If you had a doctor, if you were sick, and you went to the doctor and you said, "Doctor, I'm sick. What medicine should I take?" And the doctor said, "All of the above." You would know one thing. You have a terrible doctor. You should fire your doctor. If you have a son, if you had a daughter, if you had a teenager, and your teenager said, "I'm going out." And you say, "Well, where are you going? And what are you going to do?" All of the above. Okay. You know one thing. Your butt is not going anywhere. You're on timeout. Because it doesn't show any wisdom. It doesn't show any discretion. We need tough choices. You can't do clean stuff and then do nasty, horrible, dangerous, dirty stuff to get you back to zero. We don't need zeros. We need heroes. It's time to fire these politicians that say all the above and give them a timeout. It's time to give them a timeout. But that's nonpartisan. That's just objective.
Listen,
That's just objective.
we do need to reach across every aisle and build those bridges,
exactly.
and it is happening. And surprisingly enough, I have to give you a timeout because we don't have any more time.
That's good.
We're going to bring Majora back on stage. Was there anything you want to say before we get Majora out here and answer some of your questions?
I would say bring Majora Carter up, is what I want to say.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get the ball rolling while Majora joins us. I have 2 questions from the audience already. Which green initiative should the next president, Obama, in parentheses, launch in his first 100 days?
Sure, I'll take a crack at it while my sister comes up here. Where's her chair, though?
I know we have a chair coming.
Give me mine.
Behind you.
I can walk and talk now. Oh, thank you, sister. Thank you. Appreciate you. There you go. That's good.
Oh, we're set.
All right.
We're ready for you.
That's good. Let me get my drink.
Thank
Don't
you.
drink after me. I got a cold. All right. Well,
The first 100 days.
I think within the first 100 days. Well, first of all, everybody keeps talking about the first 100 days. I'm like, what's he supposed